JB here, July 18th, 2024, 8:54 a.m. Welcome to Turnaround Thursday, or I guess we'll find out if it will be Turnaround Thursday after yesterday's rough performance. NASDAQ falling the most since December 2022. The Magnificent Seven, they've lost over $1 trillion in market capitalization just in the last 5 sessions. And crazy headlines, right? And historically speaking, and this is at the end of June, and I forget if it was called Quintana. Someone posted the graphic that shows that the first half of July is the best historically performing period for the market of all time since I don't know if it's 1950 or 1928, whatever date it is. So we're already past that, and now we get into a historically choppy time frame. Who knows if that's because folks head to the beach or whatever the case is. So we'll have to see how today turns out. It seems like a big rotation. So yesterday Dow was up, and a lot of that's led by United Healthcare. Um, and the small caps actually tried to close in the green, and then close down 1% into the end of the session. And we'll have to see how things play out today. So big spots, and I was looking at 559 or so on the SPY yesterday. Well, hopefully we can close back above that today. That'd be nice. If not, 554, then 551 if things get dicey. And then the small caps, IWM is what I use for my support resistance. 222 is kind of the key area for me. So I want to see that hold here this today, or at least close above that. And then last but not least, I was talking about the VIX, and the VIX has closed higher 3 sessions in a row, right back to the end of May highs. That 15 handle, don't want to see go above that. And I think we'll be okay. Maybe some chop into the close today. Netflix earnings, Intuitive Surgical, a couple other names, PPG, I think reports. But Netflix is the big one because now the tech sector, which the NASDAQ's down over nearly 3% this week. Let's see what we have this week. Yeah, NASDAQ's down about 2.5%, while the Dow's up nearly 3%. Small caps are up 4.5%. So it could be either accelerate the downside in some of these names in the tech space, or kind of buoy names to finally put the floor in. But I think it's important to keep things in perspective. People talk about this huge loss in market capitalization in these Magnificent Seven stocks, but you take a look at a name like Nvidia, it's pretty much it's up over 100 and whatever percent since the start of the year. So it helps kind of put things in perspective. Similar, you look at the other names, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, they've all gained substantial market cap. So when you look at the candles from yesterday, and you see some of these big declines, Nvidia's down 3 sessions in a row. Yesterday was 6%, and you pull the chart back, and it kind of helps you not get the fear narratives start creeping in. They say, oh, here comes the crash, this is the top, and it kind of gives you a better perspective. The thing is, on Nvidia, you got to watch 115. That's the 50-day moving average. I'm not ruling out that we have some kind of pullback of bigger sorts than we had, but for now I'm chalking this up to rotation. Gonna keep things kind of cautiously optimistic until we start breaking some other areas. And 551 falls on the SPY, then I'll start looking for some puts to play for some downside in some of these I won't call them overbought names, but I guess when you have names that are up so much over the last couple months, I guess that would be a category they'd fit in. So just some names I'm looking at. First out really quick about turns, and I already did the little rant yesterday. I expect that to trade over $10. Analysts were out yesterday kind of defending VKTX and some of these other GLP-1 names on the backs of that Roche data, which to me was like almost an embarrassment. I wouldn't call it an embarrassment, but there were no details, no adverse effects, no dosage details, no specifics, just generalities, and it caused some names just to go nuts. So the good sign here is turns rebounded, closed nearly flat. I think that heads over $10. Not going to rant too much about that one. Roku should have some kind of sympathy move here with Netflix. It hasn't had too much step for step, lockstep move with Netflix over the last couple of quarters. Maybe this is the one. You saw it yesterday. Roku was solidly green for most of the day, despite the weakness in the tech sector. That's typically not the case with Netflix, with Roku. And the other side of it too was Netflix was down over 1%. So the fact that it held its ground, it closed flat, but I'll take that on a day like yesterday. You start looking at the gap fills back in February, it was $71 was the gap fill. Not saying that happens today or tomorrow, but I think that happens relatively soon. I may look to lock some of my August 75s in, a couple more just to take some risk off, because you still don't know if we're out of the woods just yet. And if there is some further selling in the tech sector, it's just going to have a spillover effect regardless of what these names do, individual names. Really quick about Wingstop. Domino's Pizza reported earnings this morning. A little disappointing on the revenue side. And now you take a look at Wing. I had my 380 puts I sold for $7 or $8. They're going to open at least $25, $24 this morning. Can't cry over having a plan. So I had a plan. I stuck with it. I made some nice coin on the put side. Of course, could have made much more, but I also could have went the other way considering they expire tomorrow. So I put it on the watch list. If it holds 355 this morning, don't be surprised if you see me get some spec lottos on wing for a bounce. I mean, the stock's down from 425 to 355 in, I don't know, 8 sessions. Not saying it doesn't deserve to be, or to me, it didn't react with the other casual dining names to begin with. So now this is kind of like it's playing catch up to some of the other names, but I think could be a bounce play. So don't be surprised if I add some spec lottos on there. Unity. So back over $18 yesterday. That 1853 handles the 50-day moving average. That'll be a key spot. Let's see here. GitLab, whatever those buyout rumors yesterday, a similar kind of company. So I don't know if that's some of the reason why the stock spiked and held its ground despite the market weakness, but I think that bodes well. And 1853 breaks that. I think it's off to the races. That's you. Square was upgraded this morning by William Blair. And I say Square. I keep saying Square, but it's Block, right? Block. But I can say Square. Everybody knows what Square is. But uh, they don't give a price target. And I went back to try and find out the previous ratings, and they don't give price targets when because they reiterated on a perform rating. I don't know when that was, a couple months ago, and they don't give price targets. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I would like to have seen like a $95 price target. But the stock is gapping up nice over that 73 handle. I think it's just a matter of time before it heads into the 80s. My thoughts there on Square. HPQ, 8 sessions in a row to the upside, just remarkable. It almost looks like it's trading on a different exchange. Uh, I was able to lock the last of my 38 strikes for a little over 100%. I still have the August 40s. I may look to get some September strikes because they might report earnings later in August. It might not, the earnings might not be encompassed by the August strikes. So I might get some September calls. Again, I think there's a great story. You start doing the apples to apples comparison with Dell and some of these other names. And I'm not saying Dell has a substantially larger portion of the revenue derived from AI, but HPQ is only at the beginning stages of seeing that tailwind. And they already talked about the back half being just the start of it. And I think their next earnings report is just going to be even better than the one before. And I think it trades into the mid 40s, if not higher, in the coming weeks and months. So I'll continue to look for opportunities to play HPQ. And then last but not least is Gilead. And you have a leader, chief medical officer leaving the company. Gilead's one of those names. It's been cash rich. It's been stuck kind of in a rut. I think their biggest they have HIV and they have something else. Are their two big blockbuster drugs? They just had their HIV shot 100% prevention, so that caused the stock to rally back in the middle of June. That's when I originally got my July strikes. The bump yesterday, I was able to close the last of those in. I added some August. I think it trades up near $80 in the coming weeks. When you have these moves with a leader leaving the company, I think that just bodes well for upside. And that's that, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.